What's happening, guys, and welcome back to the Campfire. This is the special E3 edition of the Campfire. I'm not going to be covering all of it today. Today we're just going to be covering the Microsoft. But first I want to talk about how the C3 content's going to come out real quick. As I've said before, I have a real job. I work 6 days a week. So the EA coverage is going to be a little late. Probably heard of most of this before, but I'm just giving my viewpoints around it, my opinions of what's going on. That being said, I just finished the Microsoft conference, so today we're going to be talking about the Microsoft conference and what I saw and what I thought about what's coming out. So, Microsoft opened up with Phil Spencer on stage, of course, and he let everyone know that since the last guy lost his job because he didn't talk about games, he was definitely going to talk about games today. And he pretty much just covered all games. Which is awesome. He didn't talk about the Connectless bundle, the bundle without Connect. Oh, no, he didn't talk about the $100 less Microsoft. He didn't talk about any upgrades at all. It was just all games, which is cool. I like it. I would have mentioned once that you have a cheaper Xbox, but, you know. So the next thing came out. They brought out the new Halo game. Just kidding. It was Call of Duty. It was the new Call of Duty game, but I just want to go through my list here and check off all the Halo references in the new Call of Duty game. I have on my notes here, there is a holographic glowing ammo indicator. There is a Hornet in the first scene. There are drop pods and a spider robot with a turret on top. There's a pelican, and there's even a little shield that lets you see your enemies through cover in a red outline, otherwise known as Promethean vision. Hooray, Halo! They added jet boosters and jetpacks in the game because, you know, Titanfall was popular. And they changed their color filter. Hooray, no more brown and gray. It's green and gray. As I was watching, I couldn't help but notice that they got to a scene where they're about to jump down this giant building. It's early in the video. And the only thing I could notice is, even in what was supposed to be gameplay footage, but it's probably FMV, the texture of the cracks in the floors looked horrible. In their promotion video, their textures look bad. I'm just saying this isn't a good sign. Still using snap auto targeting, which does not help at all. At one point in the scene, there was a swarm of flying robot things, and apparently these highly technical machines were fooled by car doors. I don't really understand that. Oh well. But it's got Kevin Spacey. Yay, Kevin Spacey! I think I'll just watch House of Cards. Moving on. They showed a new game, Evolve, or Evolve 4 vs. 1. I couldn't quite tell what the name was. Didn't even really give you that name for a little bit. But the first thing I noticed was more jetpacks, because Titanfall was popular. But no, on the real, then I realized it has Cthulhu in the game. And apparently, I was like, hey, you can fight Cthulhu, which is kind of stupid because the whole point is you can't even perceive to think about fighting Cthulhu, but that's a whole nother issue. And then I realized, you can play as Cthulhu! So this game could be more interesting. They didn't show much, just a little bit of gameplay, and we're talking seconds. And a lot of FMV trailer footage. We're talking less than a minute. So it's not terribly good. The next thing I have of note that they launched, because I did cut a few of my notes from this list because it just wasn't worth talking about, was the new Assassin's Creed. And the first thing I've noted here is beating a dead horse. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed. I loved Assassin's Creed. Loved that game. Loved everything about that game. And you let me down, Activision. We're going to talk about just Assassin's Creed and my thoughts about it before we move on to this new one. Originally, the game was great. I love the concept. I love the idea. I'm a story person. I value story. Even the first game, which is probably my favorite, just being honest, everything was like, everybody was like, it's repetitive, and you're doing the same 3 missions over and over again. And I was like, yeah, but are you paying attention to the story? It's fantastic. But the game moved on, the story moved on, it was great, and I was having a ball. About halfway through the Ezio trilogy, though, they started to veer off from the narrative that I liked, which was the Templars versus the Assassins. The whole point, originally, of the first game, Assassin's Creed 2, which led into the Ezio trilogy, was Desmond getting the powers he needed from the Animus to fight the modern-day Templars in modern times. And this gave me excited hope that there would be a modern set Assassin's Creed where you played as Desmond. Then Assassin's Creed 3 came out and literally broke my spirits. Not only did they introduce the worst player character ever, I despised Connor. Connor was the worst assassin ever. He had no love for the assassins at all. It was the Assassins versus Templar was barely a present in that story, overarching just his revenge plot, which was silly to begin with. And then they killed Desmond, ruining that sequence that I had hoped for in the real world. So they just crashed on both fronts in Assassin's Creed 3, and I lost all hope. Then I heard, not saw, because I never paid for it to play it, that Assassin's Creed 4, you were pretty much just a random person playing the memories of dead Desmond, which, again, I just can't deal with it. So yeah, I'm not excited about the new Assassin's Creed. They've lost me a long time ago. But they do now have co-op. And then at one point during the scene, apparently you're taking place in the French Revolution. At one point, the windows crashed open and they all threw bombs and jumped down. And I was like, this game originally had stealth elements. They're not even trying anymore. The last note I think I'll accept, because I already talked about this whole series disappointed me, such potential ruined by greed. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed. They haven't done anything to really make me want to play that game. Next note I have is Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm a sucker for Western RPGs. I love the Dragon Age games. I love Dragon Age 2 because I'm not a big fan of text scrolls. I like to read. I read books all the time. I don't like to read in video games. I don't like the small print scrolling text dialogue. The linear trees and the dealing with your the dealing with your companions, I should say. When that came out, it pushed in a way that I like. I like social interaction in video games. It drives the narrative, drives the story, and Dragon Age has always been full of that. So we didn't see a lot, but I'm excited for it so far. It can easily be ruined, and I hope EA doesn't ruin it. It probably will because they're EA. And we'll probably be able to talk about this more when I do the EA section. The next thing they showed was Sunset Overdrive, and man, was I impressed. It starts out, I like their gall. It starts out looking like they're talking about the next Battlefield, and it's a guy hiding behind a box taking pot shots, and then all of a sudden the door kicks open, the main character, Sundrive, comes out, and he's like, cover mechanics, huh? As if knowing that everyone is sick of cover mechanic brown FPS shooters. I am. I'm tired of them. I'm done with them. So it's good to see. It's colorful. It looked beautiful. If it really has the non-linear phase, I like that. If it turns out to be a linear shooter where you can just rail grind sometimes, because the rail grinding is what didn't look that impressive. I like the weapons I saw. I like the colors. I like the beauty of the game. I liked the fact that it looked like you could take different routes to get where you needed to go. It looked almost open world, but not quite sandbox, which is great. Fantastic. If they keep this up, it'll be great. I don't know what else to say about it, because they didn't show us much. Fable Legends. So when this first came out, I was like, are they doing an MMORPG? Because that's just silly. We're still at a point that even though it's losing ground, WoW chews up and spits out every MMORPG. Nothing is picking up any momentum still because of it. It owns it, and it's going to own it for at least a few more years. sorry. And then I was like, no, it's not. It's a co-op game. And then I was like, oh, it's Dungeon Land. I've played this game. One person can be the bad guy, setting up traps and all. It's Dungeon Land. It's been played. And honestly, Dungeon Land, with its worst graphics, had more charm to it because of the funny, cute sprites and colorful stuff. Rare's coming out with a new Conquer game. No, really, it's he's a playable character in Project Spark. I just thought I'd get you hyped about that. Really, though, you're making jokes. Look at me, Rare, or Microsoft, since Microsoft owns Rare. Look at me. Another Conquer game. Now. Not even playing here, people. And then they got to the Halo Master Chief Edition. I am stoked for this. I've always been a big Halo fan, and granted, as every Halo fan knows, it has kind of drifted off. I'm probably more excited for the Master Chief Edition this year than I am for Halo 5 Guardians next year. The ability to play Halo 2 Remastered is very exciting to me. And the fact that they're bringing back the original Halo 2 multiplayer, very exciting to me. I hope that they reopen, I think they said they're reopening the Halo 3 multiplayer as well, which was my absolute favorite version of the Halo multiplayers. So I'll probably be paying a shit ton of that if it comes out, because I love Guardian. Guardian is the greatest map in Halo ever. Witcher 3 came out. It looks pretty. I like it. It almost looks sandboxy in a Skyrim sense, at least from what they showed. If that happens, great. Love it. If it's linear, still cool. Looks good so far. Like the Witcher games. Like what they're doing. But, you know, more still needs to be seen. It's the running theme of this. New Crackdown coming out. Okay, here's the thing. Crackdown is wasn't a great game, but I loved it anyway. Crackdown had its faults. The jumping mechanics were not very smooth. The open world moving was clunky. It had way too many collectibles. And it was slow-paced and kind of repetitive. That being said, I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Had a blast playing Crackdown 1, Crackdown 2. So stoked for the new Crackdown game. Not even playing. Want to play it so bad. And that's the end of my notes, because that's all the games I deemed worthy to talk about. It's going to be not as long as I thought. Originally, I thought this was going to be a long one, because I was going to do all the conferences in one episode. But I think I'm going to break them up. So, there it is. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys liked. Don't forget to hug that like button and show some sub love. And I'll see you guys next time on the campfire, where we talk about probably Sony's appearance. See you guys later. Peace.